Greg.
And I'm Billy.
And we're the Fuji Guys. In this video, we're going to be talking about the S200EXR and some of its advanced features. I'd like to start, Billy, with EXR, which is part of the name of this camera, the S200EXR, and it refers to the sensor. And the EXR sensor, on this one in particular, it's a 12 megapixel EXR sensor, and its main benefits of the EXR technology, of course, are the incredible expansion of the dynamic range, so the ability to get highlight and shadow detail all within the same subject and do it better than really any other compact camera out there. Also, of course, being able to shoot in low light at high ISO with low noise. That's another specialty of EXR sensor technology. If you want to read about how it works, or even talk to someone who doesn't work at Fuji to see how it performs, you can go on the internet and just Google it, and you can learn more about the technology and more about specifically how it stacks up against the competition. But all I can tell you is it's fantastic. How about the lens on this camera, though?
That's great, Greg. I mean, you're looking at a 2.8 lens. It's a 14 times optical zoom lens, and you see how wide, how long you can get, and how wide it is. It starts off around 30 mils, goes to around 436 millimeters. It's an image stabilized lens, so it's in the lens itself, giving you real good, stabilized shots, and you definitely need it for a long zoom camera like this. And the great thing on this zoom, Greg, is that unlike other cameras where you have to push the button to zoom and zoom out, you get instant zoom. Any infinity
so fast.
Zoom.
So you go all the way from the widest setting to the most telephoto just in a twist of your finger.
So that's great to have, and it gives you that standard 67 millimeter thread in the front, which, like any SLR camera out there, you can attach commercial filters on that.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Well, let me talk about while we're talking about the lens, and you're talking about when you buy an SLR camera, they're usually manually zooming lenses. In fact, this looks very much like an SLR camera, a single lens reflex camera. It's not a single lens reflex. I know you know that, Billy. But with a single lens reflex camera, you're actually looking through a mirror, and the mirror goes right through the lens, and hence the name single lens reflex. But with this one, I'm looking through an electronic viewfinder or on the LCD finder. I'm still getting real-time viewing of what my lens sees, which is great. But what I want to talk about is why someone might choose this camera over an SLR. Many of you out there, if you're thinking of still buying a camera, you have seen some relatively inexpensive SLR cameras for $500 with a lens. So first of all, using this style of camera, the main benefit to me is this fantastic lens that Billy just described. Having one that goes from wide angle to extreme telephoto all in one lens is a huge benefit. It makes the camera a lot lighter. You're not carrying around several lenses. In fact, when a lot of people do travel and they change lenses, every time they open the front of the camera to change lenses, Billy, they invite dust into the camera. And I'll tell you, we do a lot of camera repairs for dust inside our SLR cameras. So having a closed system with one lens that covers the entire range is just a huge. It also helps not only just with the size and weight, but with the cost factor. So by the time you added up the price of the SLR body and 3 lenses, it would come to quite a bit more than this. So the other thing I like about the electronic viewfinder is being able to play back and view your pictures in bright sunlight when checking for the minute details that, as a photographer, you like to check on when you're out there on a bright sunny day taking landscape photography or what have you. So I would say probably for every 10 people that are buying a digital SLR out there today, probably at least 5 or 6 of them should buy a camera like this instead. The advantages of this style of camera are more plentiful to that type of person than the advantages of using an SLR. So there.
That's some great tips, Greg, on with this style of camera. Now, Greg mentioned it's not an SLR, but it has all the features of an SLR.
Yeah.
So when we take a look at any other SLR, there's a mode dial. You have things from fully automatic to the EXR technology that auto focus, auto switches from macro to portrait to landscape. On top of that, you have a lot of controls. You can shoot things like shutter priority and aperture priority. You can also shoot in full manual controls where you can adjust aperture and shutter to your likings and to what you want. And another great feature on this is also the ability to do custom modes. And the great thing about custom modes is that if you had a specific sharpness, color, tone that you shoot in all the time. You can set it in this custom mode, and when you turn off the camera and turn it back on again, and you dial it to that custom mode, it's going to be there for you. So you don't have to redo everything again. On top of that, you got zooming with video, which is great to have. There's also a little command dial. So in the manual controls, where some cameras you have to push certain dial and buttons, you just set it to the manual modes and switch that left and right. Allows you to change things like aperture and shutter.
And I love that you can do all of this while your eye is still in the camera. So while you're actually framing your subject or doing something, you can still have access to that.
That's right.
Mode dial as well as the thumb wheel as well there. Yeah. Well, anyways, again, talking on the theme of being SLR-like, this camera, besides shooting in regular JPEG mode, which virtually every digital camera out there shoots the JPEG standard format files, this camera can also shoot RAW files. So if you're out there and you're a Photoshop expert, or if you like just simply playing around with files, you may know that when shooting in a RAW file, so besides the file size being much larger, you're maintaining all the original data, which means when you do go into Photoshop and you do start playing with your files, you've got a lot more data to work with and a lot more original data, most importantly. There's also something kind of cool with the RAW mode. I can shoot a JPEG and a RAW file at the same time. So I want my JPEG just for my regular stuff, but I want the RAW file to work on or what have you later. That's a great feature, shooting both at once.
Absolutely, and just like going back to the film quality of Fuji, we also have this new film simulation mode that's on the camera as well. It allows you to shoot in things like Provia, Velvia, and also even shoot in black and white and sepia as well. So you have a lot of that control, like a film style SLR as well, just on top of just digital. There's also this with the EXR technologies, is that Pro Focus, Pro Low Light mode,
right,
where it allows you to give you that SLR look by sort of taking multiple shots and blurring the background to give you that very shallow depth of field.
Yeah.
Even though this camera with the larger lens, you can get that automatically with this camera as well.
But you can accentuate it more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, Greg.
Well, that's great. Don't forget that all of our cameras have a 2-year Canadian warranty as well. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that in case you're still thinking of buying one. Great little overview of some of the top features. Thanks very much, Billy. And until the next video, I'm Greg.
And I'm Billy.
Together we're the Fuji Guys.
Fuji Guys.